People, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. Wait till I tell you about this guy. Now, I don't even know where to start, so I'm just going to do this randomly here. Now, Mark Robinson is a Republican candidate who is running for governor of North Carolina, and he's endorsed by Trump and many of the MAGA candidates and officials and figures. So I'm sure he's being supported by the likes of Marjorie Greene, Lauren Boebert, Matt Gaetz, Jim Jordan, Josh Hawley, people like them. Now, let's get into some of his views and some of his statements, and you'll see why I think that this is going to be hilarious. Listen to this. Robinson's past anti-Semitic comments have drawn scrutiny and condemnation. Prior to running for lieutenant governor, he was the vice governor, by the way, for these last 4 years in North Carolina. He frequently made Facebook posts that invoked anti-Semitic stereotypes and downplayed the harms of Nazism. This is one of my favorites right here. Listen to this. He claimed that the Marvel movie Black Panther was created by an agnostic Jew and put to film by satanic Marxists that was only created to pull the shekels out of your Schwarz pockets, using a Yiddish word for black people. Okay, so look, I've said on this show numerous times before, and anybody who watches my videos regularly or at least semi-regularly, you know I use this show to talk about a lot of different shows and movies. Everybody knows I'm a horror film fan. Stand-up comedy, cartoons, SVU, Mortal Kombat. That's my thing. I'm not going to lie and say that I'm the biggest fan of Marvel and DC stuff. I think they're all right, but I'm not as hooked on them the way everybody else is. But I will tell you, Black Panther, and what he's too stupid to understand, is that, first of all, a lot of these characters that you see from Marvel and a lot of the DC characters and superhero stuff, these were characters that were created decades ago. Black Panther was a character created in the 60s, 1966. You know, your Superman, your Batman, your Iron Man, your Hulk, all this stuff. A lot of them, they had TV shows and stuff, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. And to me, it's funny, but at the same time, it's very sad and depressing and heartbreaking that he, as a black man, sorry to say it that way, is saying that about this type of movie. Now, again, let's not get it twisted. I'm not saying that every black person has to like every black movie. I mean, there's plenty of them I haven't seen, and there's plenty of them I wasn't a big fan of. But, and I got to be honest with you, to digress a little bit, I just want to digress a little bit. I was actually surprised that because of the amount of, let's face it, conservatives, especially white conservatives, who are criticizing that movie, not because of the context of the movie, but because of the fact that the movie even was a thing. On a $200 million budget, the movie grossed over $1.3 billion. I was surprised about that. I said, this movie's probably not going to make it just because it's black. I didn't think it was going to, but I'm glad it did make that much just so people like him could be upset. The Tommy Lahrens of the world, the Alex Joneses and the Ann Coulters, yeah, you're upset this movie was successful. We've seen all of your movies. We've seen all of Avengers and The Incredible Hulk, Iron Man and Captain America and Thor, all that stuff, the Spider-Man, which were all good, by the way. And so, I don't know. I mean, I hope this stuff is more emphasized by the opposite campaign, more of the media. Let's see. Where else? Holocaust denialism. In March of 2023, more of his past social media statements emerged, including Facebook posts appearing to call the figure of 6 million Jews perishing in the Holocaust into question. For example, he wrote, "This foolishness about Hitler disarming millions of Jews and then marching them off to concentration camps is a bunch of hogwash. There is a reason the liberal media fills the airwaves with programs about the Nazi and the 6 million Jews they murdered." Both Democrats and Republicans criticized Robinson's statements. So, you know what I do in a case like this? There's this thing that we have called Google. If you go to Google and you type in Holocaust, it'll take you to a link called Wikipedia, which is a great website when it comes to detailing accurate information, especially when it comes to things like, history, or you look up stuff with entertainment, celebrities, or whatever it may be, economics. And it says right here, the Holocaust took place from 1941 to 1945. Attack type: genocide, ethnic cleansing, mass murder, mass shooting, poison gas, hate crime. Number of deaths: it says around 6 million Jews. Following the invasion of the Soviet Union in June of 1941, between 1.5 and 2 million Jews were shot by German forces and local collaborators. It doesn't take a historical expert or an Albert Einstein level genius to just look something like that up if you're not entirely sure. That's called history. And it's one thing to sit there and say, hey, you either like it or you don't like it. Hey, I'm Jewish, so this greatly offends me and I know what happened, and anybody who denies it, that's disrespectful to me. Or no, I'm anti-Semitic and I hate Jewish folks, so I like that Hitler did that. So yeah, that was a good thing. Okay, either way, acknowledge that it at least happened. That's real. That's not deniable. Anybody should have learned that in school. Anybody. It doesn't matter where in school, elementary, middle, even high school. Even if you didn't learn it till 12th grade, at least you learned it. Apparently he didn't, or maybe he did and just don't know what's going on there. I was lost. I lost my spot. Hold on. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Anti-gay and transphobic comments. This one is really actually much less surprising. Because this is how a lot of the Republican Party, both MAGA and non-MAGA Republicans, feel. Let's see. There's no reason anybody anywhere in America should be telling any child about transgenderism, homosexuality, any of that filth. And yes, I call it filth. If you don't like that I called it filth, come see me and I'll explain it to you. In the same speech, he called for an end to the separation of church and state in public schools. After his speech was brought to light by Right Wing Watch, Democratic State Senator Jeff Jackson called for Robinson to resign, and Governor Roy Cooper's office said that it's abhorrent to hear anyone, and especially elected official, to use hateful rhetoric that hurts people and our state's reputation. North Carolina Attorney General Josh Stein, who's his Democratic opponent, made similar comments. Let's see. On his Facebook page, which has more than 100,000 followers, which is about 99,999 more than he should have, his posts, which have impugned transgender people, Muslims, former President Obama, and African Americans who support Democrats, have drawn criticism. Robinson accused people who support his mass delusion called transgenderism to seeking to glorify Satan. Robinson called Obama a worthless anti-American atheist and posted birther memes, accused American Muslims of being invaders who refuse to assimilate to our ways while demanding respect they have not earned, called Michelle Obama a man, and disparaged Joy Behar and Maxine Waters in crude terms. Ain't no telling what he didn't call them. I'm pretty sure I have an idea. Maybe some of you don't. Look, and by the way, to bounce off of one of those points right quick, I'm just curious to know, and I wish I can get one person to just tell me this. Just one. People keep saying, oh, Michelle's a man. How do you explain the kids? What about Sasha and Malia? Where'd they come from? I mean, because, you're born from a woman, so you can't be born from a man. I mean, what, were they adopted? Are they AI generated? I mean, what are we talking about here? Anybody who's watching this who has an idea, just let me know. Maybe I'm ignorant. I don't know. I wish somebody would just give me an answer to that. Constantly attacks the LGBT community, Jews and black people. Not sure why you do that. I mean, you are black, so okay, Uncle Ruckus. He said that the slogan white pride was not racist, writing, "I am tired of blacks and Mexicans running around shouting about being proud of their race." Robinson later wrote, "Note to liberals, I'll accept quote unquote gay pride when you accept quote unquote white pride." I can tell you right now, this guy really, this is a real life Uncle Ruckus. This guy is a real life Uncle Ruckus. I mean, so when people say proud to be black or proud to be Mexican, and you got people out there, the LGBT community, proud to be gay, all this stuff, he has a problem with that. You know, I remember the day of or the day after Trump got elected in 2016, I remember there was a picture. Somebody was wearing a shirt that said, "My president is white." There was another one that said, "Proud to be white in America," or "Proud to have white America back." Why is he not critical of that? That's what I'm curious to know. Like, what gives that more of a permission to be expressed through an emotion as opposed to somebody saying proud to be black, proud to be, it's like, whatever. Listen, if you are black and you proud to be black, fine. If you're Mexican, or if you're white, if you, whatever, just be proud to be that thing that you are. And again, he's such a bigot. He doesn't care to, he doesn't, again, when I look at people's views and that they're so dumb and stupid and out of touch, it just makes it hard for me to get the words out. And this is why I try to avoid sources like that. This is why I usually try to avoid watching the Fox Newses, the Newsmaxes, the Daily Wires, and the what's the other one, the Breitbarts and stuff like that of the world, OAN. This is why I avoid watching this stuff. It's just not, there's nothing intelligent about it at all. Let's see, the birther stuff, Joy Behar, Maxine Waters. After the 2016 Pulse nightclub shooting, Robinson wrote that homosexuality is still an abominable sin and I will not join in celebrating gay pride. What does that got to do with the nightclub shooting? Oh, it's a gay nightclub in Orlando, Florida. Okay, so here's my problem with that. So, a place in Orlando, Florida called Pulse Nightclub. It's a gay club. The place got shot up. And his response to it is, well, homosexuality is a sin, and I will not support gay pride. So in that context, you're basically saying, look, here's the thing. There's no problem if you don't want to go to a gay pride parade. I haven't been to one, and I'm probably not going to go to one. And yeah, anybody who's a believer in the Bible and anybody who's a Christian knows that, yeah, of course, it's a sin, and I'm not going to deny that. That's why I'm a little indifferent about this whole stuff. You see the LGBT people marching, and that's why you don't see me going to that, and you don't see me posting it, because it's like, I'm not here to push you and to prop you up, but at the same time, I'm not here to, like, I don't want to destroy you. I'm not advocating to kill you or to harm you or anything. He's saying, well, it's a sin. So you have nothing to say about the people who lost their lives in a club, people who just wanted to go to a club, which, by the way, has nothing to do with you. You know what you do? You don't go to that club and you just stay away from it and don't worry about it. People are out there the same way that people go to any other club or bar or lounge or wherever they want to go to get away from the troubles of their life so they can go have a good time. They want to go to a bar so they can sip on some drinks or smoke some weed or go flirt with people or play games or shoot the pool or whatever they want to do. And they get shot up and you just say, well, they shouldn't be gay. So, okay, but then what if it wasn't a gay club? What if it was just a regular straight club? What if it was just something that was like Electricity in Pontiac or something like The Works from Detroit or something like Motor City? Like, what if it was like that? Would your take be any different? If I was talking to him, he probably would say, well, it's worse when straight people get shot and killed for no reason as opposed to gay people because, homosexuality is a sin. So that in this case, it's okay that they got murdered. By the way, let me rephrase that because I didn't read the details of that. So I don't know if anybody actually got killed there. But let's just say that, let me rephrase it a little bit. It's better that it makes it more sense because they got shot. If they weren't gay, they wouldn't be shot. Was Martin Luther King gay? Was Malcolm X gay? Was JFK gay? I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of having fun with this, but at the same time, it's irritating. Let me skip some of this for right now, and let me go to something else. Oh boy, I almost lost it. Wait a minute. Let me pull this video back up. Oh, stupid commercials coming up. Let's catch it. Why is it doing this? Why is this happening right now? I'm sorry, everybody. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, here we go. So he thinks that Beyonce is satanic. I tried to look for an article detailing that and seeing like, okay, is there a reason behind that statement? I got nothing. Let's see. He called Taylor Swift trailer shift. No surprise there. Too many days to vote in North Carolina. He says right here, oh, they'll stand in line you can stand in line for 15 and a half hours to get a Taylor Swift ticket, but you can't stand in line for this amount of time to go vote. Well, Mark, I don't know if you know, but first of all, I don't even know who in the heck is standing 15 and a half hours in line for anything. We have this thing called Ticketmaster, where if you want to go to a concert, comedy show, or whatever, some major event that's taking place at some venue, you go on your phone, purchase a ticket on there digitally, download the barcode, you got it right there. You wait till the day comes, go to the event, they scan the barcode, you're in. It doesn't take 15 hours. So that statement might be a little bit exaggerated, I don't know, but still, it just sounded ridiculous. He says mass shootings are karma for abortion. So basically what that means is, well, since people are out here having abortions, well, this is why we have, this is what you get, mass shootings. So basically what he's saying is the person who goes out there and does a mass shooting, they're doing it because somebody had an abortion. So let me ask you, what's the kid's name? Nicholas, I forget his last name. There was somebody named Nicholas who shot up the school the little 17-year-old boy that shot up the school in Florida at Parkland, the Parkland school back in early 2018. Do you think that his reasoning for shooting up that school had anything to do with somebody having an abortion? These girls had abortions. I'm going to go shoot up the school. Maybe he's just a mentally deranged lunatic who was just taking his anger out on absolutely nothing, and he just killed a bunch of kids. But what's the purpose of explaining this stuff to Republicans? They don't get it. I'm not going to say every single Republican, but a lot of them, especially the far-right MAGA ones. What's the purpose? He called school shooting victims prostitutes. So is he saying like the kids who got shot and killed in the schools, they were like, what? It almost sounds like you're saying little mini prostitutes. Oh, they're little small, tots, like tater tots, small, they prostitutes, so prostitutes. He thinks lizard people are real. If anybody has a picture of a lizard person, an actual lizard person, please show me. I'm not talking about a character in a movie or show or game. I'm not talking about Reptile from Mortal Kombat. No, give me an actual person. Is there a lizard person living in your apartment building, in your house, in your neighborhood? Is a lizard person going to your school or your college or your church or somebody that works at your local grocery store or anything like that? Somebody who you work with at your job? He thinks American Idol is the sign of a new world order. See, I'm not even sure. I don't even know what that means. Because, all right, look, I pulled it up right here and I just had it. I don't know how I lost it. I'm losing everything here. Okay, here we go. So, New World Order, conspiracy theory. What is that? It's a term used in several conspiracy theories which hypothesize a secretly emerging totalitarian world government. The common theme in conspiracy theories about a new world order is that a secretive power elite with a globalist agenda is conspiring to eventually achieve world domination and rule the world through an authoritarian one world government, which will replace sovereign nation states and an all-encompassing propaganda whose ideology hails the establishment of the new world order as the culmination of history's progress. What does that got to do with American Idol? American Idol is a television show. It's a talent show that's been on since, what, 2002 or 3? And it's a show where people compete, where they go up on stage, they audition, and they sing, and then you have 3 judges, usually 3 judges, sometimes it's more, that basically get to decide if you make it, because if you can sing and they like your singing, then they just vote yes and you pass. If they don't like your singing, they say no and you go away, and you know, better luck next time. And a lot of people have made it and a lot of people didn't. What does that got to do? How is that and New World Order connected to each other? Like, I don't know. I'm not getting that. I don't. Again, I don't hang around MAGA circles and right-wing groups, so is it possible that there could be some type of better context there that somebody else could better understand that I'm not? Maybe, but I don't see how those two things are connected. Now, if you want to sit there and say there is such a thing as New World Order conspiracy, it's one thing to just put that in context alone. But again, what does that got to do with American Idol? Are you saying that Simon Cowell and Randy Jackson and Paula Abdul and Ryan, whoever, what's his name, are they all part of this? Like, is this something like, oh, I don't get this. I don't know. That's bizarre. He thinks the moon landing was faked, but then in another article, it said he thinks the moon landing was real. I don't really have too much of an opinion on that one because I don't know whether or not the moon landing was real or fake. I've heard too many different debates and discussions on it. I haven't looked into it enough personally to be able to decide that. So that part I'm not going to be as heavily critical about. So that part I don't know. The only one small critical piece that I can throw in there is, well, you saying two opposite things. In one source, you said you thought it was real and one is fake. So that just shows flip-flopping. But again, I don't know if it was real or fake. He thinks 9/11 was an inside job. This one I have slightly mixed thoughts about, and I'll tell you why. Because I do think that the Bush administration had something to do with it. But here's the problem. With him saying that, I would look at him and say, guess who was in the White House at the time 9/11 happened? Guess who was running the Senate? And guess who was running the Congress? It was Republicans. It was Republican President George Bush. It was Republican Vice President Dick Cheney. It was Republican Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld. It was Republican White House Chief of Staff and Senior Advisor Karl Rove. It was Republican Attorney General John Ashcroft. And it was Republican other officials and staffers like Paul Wolfowitz and Scooter Libby and Bill Kristol. Guess who was leading the Senate? Republican Mitch McConnell. Who led the Congress? Republican. Okay, I'm sorry. I forgot who the Republican Speaker of the House was at the time. Oh, wait, I think it was Dennis Hastert. I think it was him. So when you say it was an inside job, that's you saying, yeah, our party was in government at the time that it happened, so they had something to do with it. You're criticizing your own party on that one. So let's see. What else? What else did we have here? Hold on. It says right here, his bizarre ramble, quote unquote, I absolutely want to go back to the America where women couldn't vote. Now, I tried to look that up and see if there was any type of real context to it. Now, there's a website here called WCNC. Fact check. Mark Robinson saying that he wants to go back to the America where women couldn't vote needs context. Robinson was criticized on social media for comments that he wanted to absolutely go back to America before women could vote. Just days after earning the Republican nomination for North Carolina governor, Mark Robinson is facing backlash after comments he made in 2020 resurfaced on YouTube. The comment happened at an event hosted by Republican Women of Pitt County, who was running for lieutenant governor at the time, was caught on camera saying he would absolutely want to go back to the America where women couldn't vote. Our sources, we went straight to the source for this one and watched the YouTube video for ourselves. What we found, a little snippet of the video, which has now gone viral, needs a lot of context. In the 2020 video, he referred to a previous question posed to conservative political commentator Candace Owens, who was asked, quote unquote, which America would you want to go back to? One where women couldn't vote or one where black people were swinging from trees? I want to know who asked that question and why they asked that question. Like, what's the point? Like, why are you... I don't have the patience for it, so skip it. He then asked himself the same question, and he said he would pick the situation in which women couldn't vote. He explained by saying America was better then because Republicans fought for real social change. WCNC Charlotte has reached out to Robinson's campaign to ask about this video. So far, the campaign hasn't responded to those requests. So while he did say he wanted to go back to an America where women couldn't vote, that quote itself is taken out of context in the story circulating around social media. He was using it to make a point about the Republican Party supporting women's suffrage. Here's the rest of what he said. He said, because in those days we had people who fought for real social change and they were called Republicans, and they are the reason why women can vote today. So while Robinson holds, you know what I think that is to a degree. I think that's what I call a mental jujitsu move, where it's like, well, it's listen. Instead of being, here's what the proper answer to that question should be. When you're being asked, first of all, especially if you're a black person, and you happen to get asked that question, would you rather go back to the America where we were swinging from trees or the America women couldn't vote? Your answer to that question is supposed to be, you know what? That's an absurd question, and I'm glad we're past all of that, because now blacks and women get the right to vote, because the 14th and 19th Amendments, respectively, gave blacks and women the right to vote. The 14th Amendment, which was amended, ratified is the right word for it, ratified in 1870, and then 50 years later, 1920, gave us the 19th Amendment, the women the right to vote. So guess what? We've gotten past all of that, and now here we are, blacks, women, minorities, everybody has the right to vote. That's your answer to that question. That's your answer. So, my goodness. Now, what else did he say? He also said that he supports the expansion of charter schools. He wants to eliminate the State Board of Education. He's also an election denier. No shock there. He supports Trump, and anybody who's on the Trump train has to deny the election, because the minute that you say anything that's even close to, well, Biden did kind of win, nope, Trump and the Republicans and the MAGA Republicans are just going to throw you out like Jazz on Fresh Prince. They're just going to throw you right out. So this video was longer than what I expected it to be, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of what this guy's about. By the way, he has nothing on his website. Let me see if I had the website here that he's got hardly anything on. Mark Robinson. Here we go. His campaign website. Where I click Meet Mark, volunteer, events, get updates, send a message, county leader. I don't see anything on issues, nothing about where he stands on healthcare, nothing about where he stands on education or wages or workers or stimulus checks or anything, business, whatever, nothing. So his entire thing is, I'm with Trump. The election was stolen. Biden's a cheater. Trump is going to make America great again. And Beyonce's satanic. And Democrats, they're devil worshipers. He has some context in like some other articles and videos that I've seen. And lizard people are real. And here's the last thing I want to say right quick, too. With everything that I've given to you, and for as idiotic and uneducated and unintelligent as he is, this is what I want to tell the Democrats. Let's not pretend that there's no possibility of him winning, because we didn't think Bush was going to win and we didn't think Trump was going to win. Remember that? And I detailed that in another video. I said the one thing that Bush and Trump proved is that anybody could win, especially if Democrats get complacent. We can't keep allowing that. So look at this right here. When we look at the 26, so there's 5 elections I want to go over right quick. When it comes to the governor's election in 2016 in North Carolina, you had Roy Cooper, who's the current governor, who's a Democrat. He won his first election by only just over 10,000 votes. Let me check the North Carolina population right quick. So North Carolina has just over 10 million people, and that was as of 2021. And then in 2020, when he ran for re-election, he actually won by a greater margin. He won by over 248,000 votes. That's good. When you look at the presidential elections that took place that year, 2016, Trump beat Hillary by over 173,000 votes. And in 2020, he just beat Biden by over 74,000 votes. And the reason why, and I knew when they did the recount in North Carolina in 2020, it didn't surprise me that Trump ended up winning that because the Republican senator out there, Tom Tillis, he ran against a Democrat and they did a recount there too, and he ended up winning that. And so he ended up winning that race, that senator, by over 95,000 votes. But let's remember, Roy Cooper had won those states. He won that state twice, the second time a greater margin. If I'm not mistaken, I think Obama had won North Carolina both times, or at least one time. So North Carolina is not all the way red, but it's definitely not a blue state either. It is very possible. And looking at the polls, so Mark Robinson is running against a Democrat named Josh Stein. And looking at the polls, the latest poll that came out shows that the Democrat is at 44% and Mark Robinson is at 42%. So that makes me feel a little bit good. But the part that kind of makes me feel a little bit uneasy is the fact that the poll right before it from the previous week, or like going into almost concurrent, it shows that Robinson was like at 42 or 43, and then the Democrat was only at 39. But the latest one shows Democrat 42, Democrat 44, Republican 42. So it is very possible we could win that state. We just have to continue to, and that's why I included North Carolina on my list of states when I did the 20-state strategy, because Democrats need to get to that state, whether it be in person or virtually, and let independent and undecided voters know what Democrats in Congress and Senate and what our Democratic White House has been doing. Remind them about the PACT Act. Tell that to the veterans. Remind them about the American Rescue Plan Act, the CHIPS Act, the COVID relief package, the reduction of student debt, all these things, putting $60 billion into the ACA to enroll 16 million people onto Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. Let them know these things so that we don't lose to a guy like this. We almost lost to Herschel Walker. We almost lost to Carrie Lake. We almost lost to Blake Masterson. We almost lost to Doug Mastriano. Unfortunately, like I said, we lost to Bush and Trump. But again, that wouldn't happen had it not been for the Electoral College. But it's a whole new other story. So people, I just want to throw that out there. So let's make sure that this guy does not win. And I will be giving you more details and information on other candidates who are running in different states. Like and subscribe. The world of politics is beyond insane, to say the least.